What's up, guys? Mr. Yates here. Today we're going to be looking at sides of polygons. So remember that when two sides meet, they form an angle. And if we know certain things about the sides and the angles of different polygons, then we can identify certain properties or certain definitions of those polygons. So let's take a look at the three different things that the sides of a polygon can do. So the lines on a polygon, or the sides, can be intersecting, can be perpendicular, or they can be parallel. So let's start with intersecting. That probably sounds like a word you've heard before. Maybe you've been driving in the car and you've come to an intersection. An intersection is where two roads meet. So intersecting sides of a polygon are just when two sides of a polygon meet. So intersecting sides meet. And if I want to draw an example of that, I could draw one line like this and another line like this. And right there, where those two lines meet, that's where they intersect. Okay, let's keep going. Perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are also lines that meet, but they meet in a very special way. When perpendicular lines meet each other, they form what's called right angles. Angles that form like perfect square T's, just like that. So I'm going to say that perpendicular lines make right angles. And to draw an example of those lines, I would draw lines that come like this. And if you see, when those lines meet, they make like a perfect little T, and you could put like a nice little box right down there in the corner. And I said that on purpose, because one way to know that it's a perpendicular line is you're going to see that little box drawn in. Maybe you've seen that in angles before. So where these two lines meet, I'm going to draw in just a little box. And what that does is that tells me that is definitely 100% a right angle. That is a 90-degree angle. All right, cool. And the last one, parallel lines. Parallel lines are interesting because parallel lines, they don't intersect. They don't ever touch each other. Parallel lines, if they kept going on and on and on and on forever, would never touch. One awesome example I always use when I think of parallel lines is, again, picture yourself back in a car. So I'm driving in a car, and what are those two little yellow lines in the middle of some roads? Those two lines that run side by side, but they never crisscross. They just stay alongside one another. Those are an example of parallel lines. They go on and on and on, and they never touch. So parallel lines or parallel sides never meet. And an example of parallel sides would be these lines right here. Now notice they don't meet, but one big thing to consider is if those lines kept going and kept going and kept going in the same direction, they still wouldn't meet. Okay, so we have intersecting, any lines that meet, perpendicular, lines that meet, but when they meet, they make a right angle, which we see with the little box, and parallel lines. Those are lines or sides that are never going to meet. Okay, let's see if we can take what we just learned and identify those lines on these shapes. So when you're looking at these shapes, they each have two sides that are in red. So we're focusing on the red sides of these polygons. Okay, that's what I'm asking questions about. So this first polygon here has four sides, so I know it's a quadrilateral. And if I look at these red lines, the red lines on this quadrilateral, do they meet? No. If they meet, do they make right angles? Well, they don't meet. If they kept going on and on and on and on forever, would they ever meet? I don't think so. So these two red lines on this polygon right here, this quadrilateral, are parallel. Now let's take a look at two red lines on this polygon right here. This polygon right here has three sides, so I know that it is a triangle. Cool. These two red lines right there, do they meet? Oh, they do meet. So they're intersecting lines, right? Not so fast. Let's just make sure. Perpendicular. Do they meet and make right angles? Remember that I know it's a right angle if someone draws a little box in the angle where those two lines meet. Well, let's see. These two lines meet right here, and a little box. That's telling me that this is a right angle. So if there's a right angle formed where these two lines meet, then it must be perpendicular sides. So I'm going to go ahead and write perpendicular. Awesome. And I know they're not parallel because I can see them meeting. All right, last shape over here. This polygon has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 angles. 6 sides, 6 angles. Let's see, the number 6 has an X in it, so it must be the one with the X. Oh, it's a hexagon. That's a hexagon. I knew it. All right, the two red lines in this hexagon, the two red sides right here, let's see. Do they intersect? Do they meet? Well, they definitely meet. I can see them touching right there. When they meet, do they make a right angle? Huh. Well, I can't quite tell, but I do know that I don't see a little square or a little box drawn in there, so I don't think they're making a right angle. And if they went on and on and on forever, would they never meet? No, that can't happen. They're already touching. All right, so then these two sides must be intersecting. Awesome. So by being able to see and identify what different sides and angles are on polygons, we're going to be able to identify and define different types of polygons.